Most men aren't failing with women because they're unattractive. They're failing because they've been lied to their whole lives. The truth? Women are just as strategic, manipulative, and calculated in the dating world as men, if not more. And the game exposes that ugly truth, not with anger, but with strategy. This isn't a book about getting laid. It's about how one awkward journalist infiltrated an underground world of seduction artists, mind games, and status obsession, and came out the other side changed, maybe broken. If you think being yourself is enough, keep watching, because the game proves being yourself might be the very reason you're losing. Let's rewind to the early 2000s. A scrawny, balding music journalist named Neil Strauss has just hit 30. He's successful on paper, interviewing rock stars, writing for Rolling Stone, but there's one area of life where he feels like a ghost: women. Rejected, ignored, friend-zoned, ghosted. He's every nice guy watching this right now. Except he had one thing you might not: an obsessive curiosity and access to people most of us would never meet. So he does what any writer would do. He goes full undercover. Strauss immerses himself in the dark corners of internet forums, mystery groups, underground layers in LA. And he becomes a student of a secret subculture that called themselves PUAs, pickup artists. And what he finds is a bizarre world filled with men who use hypnotic language patterns to get women to touch them, men who call themselves names like Mystery, Style, and Tyler Durden, men who've turned dating into a psychological combat sport, complete with routines, tactics, and rankings, and women who, whether consciously or not, play their own part in a high-stakes game of power, attention, and validation. Strauss doesn't just observe this world, he becomes it. He adopts the name Style, becomes the top PUA in the world, and even gets mentored by the greatest seduction minds on the planet. But here's the twist. This isn't a story about success. It's a story about what success costs when you stop being human and start seeing people as puzzles to decode. It's a cautionary tale wrapped in a how-to manual. It's a red pill wrapped in glitter. We're going to break the game down into 3 brutal truths that most men aren't ready to hear. But first, let's get one thing straight. The game isn't just about girls. It's about insecurity, masculinity, identity, and what happens when you build your confidence on illusion instead of truth. By the end of this video, you'll walk away with a deep understanding of how seduction actually works, psychologically, not romantically. The real dangers of playing a persona instead of being real, and why some men master the game only to lose themselves entirely. Here's how we're breaking it down. Point 1. The seduction matrix. How the game really works. What if I told you attraction had a formula and your personality barely mattered? Neil Strauss didn't walk into this world looking for a formula. He walked in looking for answers. What he found was something even more powerful and dangerous. In the pickup artist world, attraction wasn't some mysterious force. It was math, behavioral equations, triggered instincts. Let's break it down. Negs, short for negative compliments, are backhanded remarks designed to lower a woman's self-esteem just enough to make her chase validation from the man who delivered it. Nice nails. Are they real? DHV, a demonstration of higher value. These are pre-rehearsed stories or behaviors that showcase a man's social status, creativity, or edge. Telling a story about how you jump backstage at a concert? That's a DHV. Wearing peacock gear like goggles, furry hats, or shiny shirts? That's a visual DHV. Group theory. Women respond more positively when they see other women responding positively. So don't hit on her, make her friends laugh first. Be liked by the tribe, then the queen notices you. The 3-second rule. Don't overthink your approach. If you see someone attractive, walk up in 3 seconds or less before anxiety ruins you. These strategies weren't taught as random tips. They were part of a structured system, a seduction pipeline, and it worked. Strauss, under the name Style, became lethal with it. He could walk into a club and leave with a woman who wouldn't even look at him 5 months prior. Mystery, the towering, eyeliner-wearing godfather of the PUA community, called Style one of the best in the game. But here's the dark side. This system trains you to see women not as people, but as challenges, as validation, as trophies. And if you're not careful, it starts to work too well. You stop trying to connect. You start trying to conquer. Point 2. From Neil to style. Losing yourself in the persona. When does self-improvement become self-deception? At first, Neil Strauss was just Neil, a shy, smart writer looking for connection. But slowly, Neil became style, and style had rules. Style had routines, style had power. But the more powerful style became, the more Neil disappeared. There's a moment in the book where he hooks up with multiple women in a week, gets praised by everyone in the seduction community, but feels empty. One of the girls even cries while leaving his apartment, and he doesn't feel a thing. He had hacked love, but he forgot how to feel it. Even worse, he wasn't alone. Mystery, his mentor, falls into deep depression after being ghosted by a girl. Yes, the god of pickup is suicidal over a woman he claimed to have seduced. Why? Because the persona doesn't protect you from pain. It hides you from it. Until one day, it all leaks out. Neil starts seeing a woman named Lisa, and for the first time in years, he drops the games. He opens up. He tries honesty, vulnerability, and it's the scariest thing he's ever done. Because when you've built your confidence on tactics, removing them feels like death. But it's also the only way back to being whole. Point 3. The exit. Why winning the game isn't the goal. Every game ends. The question is, do you win or just stop playing? Neil had reached the mountaintop. He was the #1 pickup artist. He had the women, the fame, the community. But inside, he felt like a fraud. Not because the game didn't work, but because it worked too well. He could get women, but he couldn't feel love. He could get attention, but not connection. So he left. He walked away from the world he helped popularize. And in doing so, the game became more than a manual. It became a mirror. It showed us what happens when men, broken by rejection and insecurity, build a castle out of manipulation instead of healing. It's not about being alpha or beta or high value. It's about being real. Neil eventually wrote a follow-up book, The Truth, a brutally honest story about addiction, therapy, commitment, and what real intimacy requires. It's not flashy, it's not sexy, but it's real. And maybe that's the hardest game of all. So what do we do with all this? If you're a man watching this who struggled with women, with confidence, with loneliness, the game can open your eyes, not just to tricks, but to truths. Confidence isn't built by memorizing lines. It's built by facing rejection. Women aren't prizes to win. They're people to connect with. And the best version of you isn't the one who knows what to say. It's the one who's not afraid to say what's real. Use the tools, learn the psychology, but don't lose yourself. Because at the end of the day, the real game isn't seduction. It's integration. And the only way to win is to play as your whole self. Thanks for watching. If you found this breakdown powerful, like, comment, and share your biggest takeaway. And subscribe for more brutally honest book breakdowns that cut deeper than surface-level advice. This is Your Book Reads. And remember, the game is only real if you don't know you're playing it.